the 16th century, art is shown in the exploitation of the power of art, and architecture as an expression of his papal vision was far more dramatic than that of his predecessors. High Renaissance in and the individual style of these three artists were of immense influence on later painters. Carpaccio, Line of St. Mark, Palazzo Boccaglio Venice, Canvas 1516. The background to this visual symbol of Venetian power included the Dogs Palace and galleys to reinforce the Venetian context. Establishments like the palace is created by developing art. Increasing involvement with the politics of mainland Italy brought closer contact with the revival of ancient Roman culture and the image that provided for Italian rulers. The Catholic Church survived the strict change and frailty of the 16th century, and by the year 1600, the starkness of the Counter-Reformation had offered path to another soul of certainty. The sculptors displayed their exceptional talent by idealizing the beauty of saint in ecstasy, while at the same time conveying the reality of the religious experience. Including many free clans and societies, Native Americans created unmistakable legends to clarify normal marvels. The rough common territory made the Inca a fantastic architects. We can call their nature basis. Despite having a great architectural designs, a major slavery happens. Church and state were closely linked in the Spanish Empire. Portraiture was in high demand by the citizen of the new republic. A portrait not only conveys a form of immortality upon the sitter, but it also communicates much about the society in which it was commissioned. The bulk of the pictures produced in the Dutch Republic were patented for the open market. Foreign visitors commented on the extent of art ownership. On this time, they symbolized things like the certain flowers symbolizes purity, love, and resurrection. But flowers decay, and this message was reinforced by von Beyeren, who added an open pocket watch to his compositions to express the transience of their beauty. Art developed our creativity since then. Art and visual culture provides a broad overview of the major developments in Western art between 1100 and the present day. It is divided into three parts, each of which explores the concept and practice of art in a distinct historical period. The 18th century was the golden age of reason, and hence the great achievements in politics and knowledge. Artists and architects traveled from one country to another. Rococo art, also referred as the late Baroque, is an 18th century artistic movement and style which affected several aspects of the arts including painting, sculpture, architecture, interior design, decoration, literature, music, and theater. Neoclassical art, also called Neoclassicism and Classicism, a widespread and influential movement in painting and other visual arts that began in the 1760s, reached its height in the 1780s and 90s, and lasted until 1840s and 50s. British art. The death of Queen Anne marked the end of Stuart dynasty and the start of a new era of prosperity for Great Britain. Middle-class art. The inexorable increase in economic power among the bourgeois of 18th century Europe encouraged the development of middle-class political and cultural aspiration. The 19th century in Europe began with the rise of Napoleon. When his reign ended in 1815, Europe was in great upheaval. The ideals of Enlightenment and previous century confidence and reason were replaced by Aristotelian doubt and psychological introspection. The terror of French Revolution and the execution of Louis XVI inspired the nations of Europe to take arms against the new regime. The British Empire had been founded on trade, but it soon extended political control in colonies all over the globe. The impact of the Industrial Revolution was felt in the dramatic growth of manufacturing industries. The humanitarian idealism of the 18th century gave way to increasingly strident demands for social and political reforms. The Café Bourgeois in Paris was the meeting place for a group of young artists during the 1860s. The Industrial Revolution was indeed a revolution, bringing a sweeping transformation of Western civilization. Major improvements in transportation and communication dramatically altered the perception of time and distance, with far-reaching effects of the conduct of daily life. The Industrial Revolution had fundamentally challenged the old order. At the beginning of the new century, accepted truths in every area of human thought and endeavor were openly questioned. World War I came as a profound economic, political, and social shock to the nations of Europe. Socialist movements were forcibly repressed and countered by increasingly vociferous right-wing nationalist groups. Europe emerged from World War II physically, economically, and politically devastated. Its position at the center of world power, already eroded by World War I, was now decisively broken.